It's one thing to say, I think the Mandalorian's going to remove his helmet, or I think someone else is going to touch the Darksaber. But it's another thing to make bold predictions, especially when it comes to Star Wars, especially when the Mandalorian's returning in 2 days. So welcome everybody to TRB. We are here for our final podcast before the Mandalorian returns, which also means our final podcast before the return of our show, the Mando Fan Show, on Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. U.S. East, right here on youtube.com/@theresistance broadcast, and of course the following day on your favorite podcast apps. But you're here to watch or listen to this episode. I'm John, that's James, that's Lacey, and we're here to make our bold predictions about season 3 of The Mandalorian. And we have a bunch of other stuff that we're going to get into. But we want to remind you of a couple things first. We still have that discount code going with Gentle Giant. So if you see any of their items, including stuff from The Mandalorian at Gentle Giant, and you want to pick one up, if you would like to save money and get 20% off, use the code RESIST20 at checkout. And that's pretty much the only plug I want to get into before we talk to each other here. So do you guys, I only have like a couple of bold predictions. I feel like the discussion is going to make me conjure up some. Do you guys already have like a list of items? Where are you guys at without revealing what they are yet?
I feel like I have some, but I feel like I'm going to come up with more as we talk. Does that sound fair? Like, I feel like once you guys say something, I'm going to be like, actually, I think blank.
Yeah. And as you guys know, I always am like, well, what do you mean, John? Like, how far are we going with bold here? Like,
yeah,
every single character dead. They turn into zombies. And
so
Jean-Luc Picard shows up.
I think that's the thing, is like the idea behind it. And we did this, I think, for the book of Boba Fett. I don't know if we did it for other Mandalorian seasons, but the idea behind it is it's supposed to be something that's very unlikely to happen, or like not a prediction that everyone's tossing out there that seems like an obvious thing, you know? So like, I think Moff Gideon's going to show up in the Mandalorian season 3. It's like, oh, is that because Giancarlo keeps talking about it? Is that it? So I think we're going to have some fun, and a lot of them are not going to happen, but that's the whole point of doing these bold predictions. But we also have other stuff to get into. And we have the segment that is near and dear to us because we do it often, and we involve our patrons in it too. And James Bainey, that segment is called what?
Will the Force.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
You guys know how this goes. We have our Patreon, and you guys can, if you're part of it, you can submit questions to it. But let's kick it off with the first one here, which is going to be, if a Book of Boba Fett Season 2 is made, which we were just talking about, will Robert Rodriguez remain as a showrunner? Lacey, you want to kick us off on this one? Any chance that Robert returns for Book of Boba Fett Season 2, if that happens?
Yes, I think he absolutely will. I think that this show happened because of him, because he did such an awesome job on that episode for The Mandalorian. He did that whole like action figure kind of concept video with his sons in his backyard. Like, he really showed that, like, I want to do this for this character. I enjoyed what he did with the character and with the series, and all the stuff that he did, even if it was a little out there compared to what people might have expected. I enjoyed it. And I think that if there's going to be another Book of Boba Fett season, it's going to get more in kind of the nitty gritty savage stuff that Boba Fett's all about, like the knee rockets and like all that stuff. I think this season was more of an exploration of who he is as a character and explaining how he got from point A to point B, like that needed to be filled in. So there's only like more that can be told for this character. And I think Robert Rodriguez is that guy. So yes, I think he will.
All right. I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to say yes, that he will. Also because I think Robert Rodriguez is someone, first of all, that you don't say no to, right? This guy, like, he wants to do Book of Boba Fett Season 2. Yes, we would be honored. That's good. And I think that if there are any problems with Book of Boba Fett, or people say that, I don't necessarily know that Robert was the problem. Now I understand he's the
Correct.
showrunner and all that, but like, this is still part of that Filoni universe and all that. They're just playing with these characters. I think you bring up a really good point about that as well, Lacey, that we kind of had to go through season 1 to get to that season 2. Clearly that's where they led up to. And this feels a little bit like that Han Solo thing that Alden's always talking about. Like, oh yes, well, we had to do Solo so that we could get to the cool, shifty, brokenhearted Han Solo that you want. Now it seems like Boba Fett is ready to go. So bringing in Robert, who is profound and would be capable of taking this character exactly where he's supposed to go. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why they would turn down Robert Rodriguez. Like, sorry, buddy, not the hit we were looking for. We're going to go forward with the second season, but not you. Like, who are you bringing in then? John,
Right.
what are your thoughts? John's going to touch down.
When I came up with the question, my brain was like, he's not.
Really?
And I don't know why I thought that, but the more I think about the Book of Boba Fett, and I'll be honest, I haven't gone back and rewatched anything except the last episode, which was my favorite, which I believe he directed, which is just a bananas awesome kick-ass Star Wars episode of action and fun. And heart too. But I think you guys are right. I feel like his DNA is in that series very much. And, that gunslinger Western style, throwback and all the Cad Bane stuff and the face-offs and everything that goes with it, really, his stamp is all over that. And I don't see any situation or I don't think I could conjure up any situation where Jon Favreau and Filoni are like you said, James, like, nah, we're good, with you. I think they really like working with Robert, and I can't see either one of them, who, in my opinion, would be the only two choices to take over. They have a full plate as it is. Favreau probably has other stuff he wants to do beyond Star Wars. Filoni has the new role as creative executive. He's knee deep in the Ahsoka stuff. So if Boba Fett season 2 is happening, I think it will be Robert Rodriguez. So we're going 3 for 3 on that one.
And let's be honest,
absolutely.
they're not going to say no just because they want more videos of him playing guitar with Grogu.
Right, that's a good point too. That is very good, and he seems like he really enjoyed it and cared about it, and that always goes a long way with me, as opposed to someone just like taking a job or taking a gig. He really seemed to really love doing it, so that's really.
Well, one other thing about Book of Boba Fett too is I feel like the problems that people had with it are like easy fixes. Like, when I'm remembering like what people were complaining about, like, oh, that like hover bike chase was really slow. Like, okay, next time we'll do something a little different. Maybe we won't have those specific characters or something in it. Like, there's easy fixes to say, the takeaways that people didn't like about that show, like, didn't have enough Boba Fett in it.
Every little thing.
What do you want?
You don't have to love every little aspect of this stuff.
Sure.
There could be things you don't like. I didn't like the Eope fart in the Phantom Menace, and I still like the Phantom Menace. So.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next question here, which, like I was saying before, if you're part of our Patreon, which of course you can go to patreon.com/resistance broadcast, you can join our show or join the Patreon at just $5, which is not too crazy if you think about it. And at that tier, you're able to start submitting questions to Will of the Force, just like one of our newest members, a major, Eric Dean, sent us the question. Will the shaky status of the movie theater business model ultimately mean the future Star Wars movies will be pay-per-view on Disney Plus, or will Disney purchase a movie theater chain? John, I'm going to jump back to you on this one. What are your thoughts on the future of Star Wars movies if the theater business starts to fall in on itself?
I think we're over that. I think people are going back to theaters, and especially for big movie experiences like a Star Wars movie. I think indie movies, maybe some comedies, maybe some romance stuff that people don't feel like they have to go see it on the big screen will maybe hurt and not get distributed as much.
He means indie as in like small, not indie as in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I hope people knew that. Yeah.
I'm just
Indiana Jones,
because you were like, a little indie film,
coming to theaters this June. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I don't think there's any like a thing with that. I don't think that's going to be an issue with these big movies. I think Star Wars will always have a place there, and I think it will always do well there. So I don't really honestly buy into the shaky status of the movie theater business. I think it's going to survive just like anything. I mean, there's old technologies that are coming back that there's no reason for them to be coming back because people enjoy them, and the movie theater experience is hard to replicate, especially for a movie like, say, Avatar or Star Wars, where it's just different to see it on a big screen with a packed house versus at home where you can watch, a comedy or something and it really doesn't matter as much. So I don't see this being any sort of scenario for Star Wars movies. As a matter of fact, I think they're pivoting slightly back away from, and we've talked about this on the podcast a lot recently, away from Disney Plus a bit and putting their focus back into theaters because that's where they're going to get the profits for Star Wars. So I think actually more so they're leaning into going back to theaters as opposed to the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think this is a great question, Eric. It makes you really think about what could be. But I think John is right as far as there was a time, definitely 2020 and 2021, where we were thinking movie theater chains were already shaky. And now this is just going to kill them. This could be the end. And then when we saw Hollywood shift to like HBO Max was getting exclusives on all these big movies and stuff, we're like, this is it. People are going to like this. And they're not going to go back to theaters anymore. And I think it sort of saved itself to now where people feel like they're comfortable going back to theaters. So I do think that theaters right now are not in a big predicament of being shut down, although they're always sort of been on shaky ground. The other part of that question, that Disney purchase a movie theater chain, I don't think Disney has to. I think the company purchasing a movie theater chain conversation is solely on Netflix right now, because Netflix is the one that is putting all of their original movies and they're wanting to get them into theater for Oscar consideration and all that. But as far as Disney goes, Disney already owns the movie theaters. They're the ones that are saying, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to take larger cuts out of these movies that are, not even really fair at all. Or you don't get Star Wars. You don't get you don't get Frozen 2.
It doesn't make sense for Disney to want to own theater chain.
They already own them because they already have they already control the power.
They have the leverage of the IPs and the franchises. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Without needing to do all the work or worry about the profit margins.
Yeah,
or sell
there's
popcorn.
like, a standard 15%. Well, they're taking 30 and that's just, if look into it, that's already happening. So I feel like Disney already basically pushes the movie theaters around, so they don't need to purchase a chain to stay alive. Lacey, what are your thoughts?
Eric, welcome to the Resistance. We're happy to have you. Thank you for your question. I think this is a good question that naturally us as Star Wars fans and movie fans have been questioning for the past few years, especially during the pandemic. And as we've gotten kind of, I wouldn't say out of it because we're not out of it, but back to normal-ish. I fall into the space of I've not been to the movies that much. In fact, the only movie I've been to in the past few years was Top Gun Maverick. So I know that there was a video going around a week or two ago of Spielberg talking to Tom Cruise saying like, man, you saved the movie industry.
Right.
I 100% believe that Top Gun Maverick, we would make jokes here on the pod about how it kept getting pushed off, rightfully so, because it's made buckets of money. It's saved the movie industry, and every single movie theater where people saw Maverick, every photo I ever saw, it was packed. People saw it multiple times, and like obviously Avatar's changed that as well. Like multiple people have gone to Avatar and Spider-Man and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I think Top Gun was really the first one where people were like, okay, I have to go to the theater to see it, because I was one of those people. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen the Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen Avatar, but I knew that I had to see Top Gun. So I think that Star Wars movies are just like that people have the need to see them on the big screen, and that's always going to be something that's important. And I don't think that Disney wants to jeopardize that and put it on pay-per-view or Disney Plus, because once you make that jump with a franchise like that, in the sense of like a movie, not television, like a movie jump of like, oh, it's only on this, you're setting the stage that they're not as big as people think they are. Like they're not being held up to like a Star Wars movie, which is an event that people like line up for tickets for. There's toys released and it's all about like getting there early and there's big movie premieres and all this. Like you're automatically kind of bringing that down and
People
canceling
dressing
that.
up still, you know?
Right. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that I'm assuming, Eric, that you're also happy that's not going to happen. And I think we talked about it the other day, but we're going to be getting a movie announcement soon from Celebration, and we're going to be seeing that movie in the theater in 2025.
Yep. Well, why don't we jump into our next question, and I can bounce it right back at you, Lacey. The question is, because we're going to get that movie announcement at Celebration. That's what you've been saying. But do you think that we're going to get a new Disney Plus Star Wars series announced at Star Wars Celebration in April?
That is a good question. I think we will. Yes. I think we're going to get a bunch of new things that are on the way because we talked about this last week, but it's one of those things that Disney has to make and Lucasfilm have to make a splash with this celebration, especially because it's not happening for, 1 or 2 years. 2 years technically because it's, now and then not till 2025, but they need to still stay top of mind. And they need to come out strong so that people go, oh, wow, that's Star Wars. They're not messing around. Because they have been kind of missing in the movie space. And obviously Mandalorian has been carrying them, so to speak. Now, I haven't seen Ahsoka yet, so I can't speak to Ahsoka or Skeleton Crew or Acolyte. But based on like Andor, I loved Andor. But it's not The Mandalorian. It didn't have the cultural impact that The Mandalorian has had and or popularity that The Mandalorian has had. That doesn't make it any less good. That doesn't make it anything less quality-wise. I'm speaking solely on the ability to connect with general audiences. Andor didn't have it the way The Mandalorian did. And I could speak just from the fact that my husband will watch The Mandalorian with me. He watched maybe 10 minutes into Andor and was like, nope, I'm good. Got up and walked out. So I can only go by people that aren't Star Wars fans, what they're interested in, and everybody knows who the Mandalorian and Grogu are. So yeah, I think they're going to definitely announce a series. They need to.
John.
Yeah, I think there's pressure with what Bob Iger said. He said we need to lean back into our big IPs and stop trying to compete with Netflix with this original content. We need to lean on our strengths, which is what people are familiar with. Star Wars is one of those. And we already know, we talked about it on Thursday. We already know what is coming on Disney Plus for Star Wars for the next 2 years. They took some massive hits financially last year on Disney Plus. If you want those next 2 years of those shows we're talking about are sustaining Star Wars fans who may be on Disney Plus for Star Wars. If you want to get people buying back into Disney Plus or buying Disney Plus in for the first time, those people know what's coming. You need to lure those people with something new, another thing. And maybe it's close to home. Maybe it's Kenobi 2. Maybe, I don't know. But I think they have to. And I think it's almost a situation where Iger's like, all right, Kathleen, what do you guys have? This is your big event. You guys didn't do anything last year. We need to get Disney Plus back into the black out of this sort of debt because they've taken massive financial hits. And a lot of that's from those India subscribers that fell out and stuff like that, which is a little fugazi. But hits are hits. And, they took big financial hits and they need to revitalize that aspect of their industry, even though they are going to be leaning back towards theater. So I think they almost have to do it. So I'm hoping that we do just from a fan perspective, but I think from the business side of things, it almost feels like it's a pressure situation where they need to introduce new stuff that isn't already out there that may not be out yet, but people already know. You need new stuff to get people to say like, oh, okay, well, that changes things for me. I'm in. So I think so.
Man, I was surprised when they announced Skeleton Crew. I'll say that to start off, but I kind of don't think they're going to announce a new live action show. You guys bring up really good points, but I'm also thinking about the possibility of a new live action show potentially pulling away from the movie announcement or the other titles that they really want to push at this moment. They're going to be pushing Skeleton Crew. They're going to be pushing Ahsoka. They're going to be pushing Acolyte. And Mandalorian, because we're going to be mid-season, so they're going to have panels. They're going to do something with that. I don't know exactly what they'll show, like a sneak preview of the next episode or something. I don't know. But to me, I don't know if John, you were aiming in on live action, but I think there's a really good chance we could see an animated series announced here.
Oh yeah,
Brand new property for that. Because I'm doing these Bad Batch episodes and I love it, but I still feel like people aren't like jumping, to watch these episodes every week, and they're really excited about them. Most of the time it's like a 50-50 between like, I thought this episode was pretty good and filler. So I think people are kind of getting burnt out on Bad Batch. And I think this is about that time when you would maybe see an announcement that, that this is that's the final season. Well, I don't know. They probably would have done it by now. I don't know. It's tricky. I would hope that we get another animated series listed. And I think more likely if they're going to announce something in the live action realm, hopefully it's something we've already heard of. Like maybe they do more with Lando.
Yeah.
That could be a big splash as well. Like, oh, here we finally got the update on Lando, and Donald Glover's in, and
that they're reworking that and including Alden Ehrenreich and
one last question from another one of our patrons. This one coming from General Paul Sullivan. Hello,
hey, Paul.
Paul wanted to know: will we ever see another member of Yoda's species apart from Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu in canon? John, what do you think?
I know it's more than likely that they will, but I'm going to say no, for the sake of George Lucas always wanting. I feel like George Lucas, like, even though he doesn't own it anymore, they went to him and probably asked him if it's okay and got his blessing. And then you see the picture of him holding him on the set and stuff like that. But in all his interviews about Yoda, he was just like, I don't know what Yoda is. I don't know where he came from. I don't want to know where he came from. I want him to be a mystery. I want him to always be a mystery. And the more they introduce that species, it's going to be harder and harder for people to not want to keep itching for more information on that. So I think they've pushed the envelope already. But I agree with the maker that everything has an origin story now. Everything has a backstory, a Wikipedia page, when the year they were born, what planet they're from, all that stuff. I love that. I have no idea where Yoda's from. I don't want to know where he's from. And I think adding more will make that more complicated. So I hope that they sort of leave it here, because Grogu's young and he could be around forever. We talked about him being with Rey. We talked about him being the future in future movies. He can carry that torch for a long time without revealing much and without needing to add another. So I'm going to say no, more so out of hope and to honor Lucas. But you know that they can do it. But I'm hoping and leaning to no.
Lacey?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with John. I think Yoda, his species, is supposed to be a mystery. And the fact that they got the approval for a baby Yoda for Grogu was, I think, the biggest shock of it all.
Yeah.
And like just seeing those ears for the first time on screen, you were like, no, because it was one of those things that no one ever expected to know more about that species or who Yoda was, where he came from. I think that's one of those things that's just going to remain a mystery. I think they're going to get into who Grogu is as a creature and his backstory of being a part of the Jedi Temple, obviously, and like him being with Din Djarin and maybe glimpses here and there where he came from, like, oh, I had a family once or something like that. But you don't see Obi-Wan Kenobi as a young boy with his brother and his family, and you don't expect to. You just know he has a past. I feel like Grogu and the species and Yoda is something you just don't need. I think it's one of those things you could just it leaves it more magical when you don't know than when you do know.
Yep, I agree with both of you. the question is, will we ever, and there's always ever, forever.
It's a
but
great
not
question, Paul, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, but not for another 40 years at least, because, they brought in Yoda in 1980 and they brought in baby Yoda. What are you saying, John?
I'll be 80.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He'll be Yoda at that time.
I'm still here, just like,
they
see
brought in
around,
Yoda
kids.
in 1980, and then they brought in baby Yoda around like 2020. It wasn't exactly, but you get my point. So maybe in like 2060, when they've had a character as prolific as and it worked 100%. Like Yoda, a cultural
Actually,
icon
James,
for years.
Yaddle was in between that. Dead in
well,
between.
Okay. I know. And here's the thing about Yaddle, and this may be a hot take here. Yaddle was a mistake.
Yeah, George hated Yaddle.
It was George's mistake. He tried it. It didn't work. And Yaddle's obviously still a character that, fans like and has been created and they've done other things with. And that's fine. But,
which is totally Filoni, by the way, from his comments at the San Diego panel where he's like, "Oh, George would tell me to shut up when I talk about Yaddle."
It's nowhere near the cultural phenomenon of the other two.
Sure.
So it's not even close. That character was just sort of a like blip. They tried something, it didn't work. And so there's that. But it's Yoda and Grogu right now, and expect Grogu to hang around as long as Yoda has. Easy.
As long as Disney wants to make money.
Consider the idea of another story that they could be like, what if Grogu, now that we know is older and talks and is a master and all this other stuff, finds another person of this race or something. You know what I mean? They could do whatever they want 40 years from now. But that's going to wrap up Will of the Force this week. And I'm going to send it back over to Lacey to take us into our next section. What do we got?
All right, guys, it's time for the Patreon pod race. All right, so there are lots of ways you can support us. You can like this video on YouTube, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're slowly growing back up to our old audience, and we appreciate every single person. So even if you don't really watch the episodes, maybe you listen to them, just giving us a subscribe really means a lot to us. Speaking of audio, you can head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a review if you can. It really helps people find the show and lets us know how we're doing, and we really appreciate it. But if you want more than that, and outside of following us on social at TRB Podcasts, you can head over to patreon.com/resistance broadcast. I almost said resistance/Patreon. I don't know why I did that, but I almost did. Patreon.com/resistance broadcast. Starting at just $5 a month, you're supporting what we're trying to build here. You're supporting what we've been doing for almost, for me, the 5 years, longer for these guys, but for 5 years, what we've been doing here, talking about Star Wars, sharing what we love, building a community, and making content that you guys love. You're saying, I believe in you. I want to see you do more, and we want to see where this goes. And we truly appreciate it. And more than that, by doing that, you get to meet other fans that are really, really cool and really awesome. And you get to be a part of the show, like you just saw. This is the section of the show that we let our generals and spice runners take part. We ask them a question, they give us their answer, we discuss a little bit. It's also a nice, fun way to hear fans' perspectives on different topics. But I'm going to say thank you to those people first. So thank you to our generals: Carmelo, John Reese, Jetta Rosewater, Frank Grande, Darth Hurricane, Nick Kratz, Christian Morales, Brian Smith, Matt Chitty, Danny, Mike Ramori, Matt Heath, Brendan McLaughlin, Count Pepto, Sneaky Zebra, Paul Sullivan, who we just heard from, Aaron Ellington, Diana, Ivar, like iPhone. Ivar, and Micah Harrison. Thank you so much. And to our Spice Runners: David Probus, Neil Shaw, Kendall Gellner, Ryan Wara, Dave Hornack, Thomas Hennessy, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and Michael Fry. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.
This week, we have the wonderful, the awesome, the 501st member, General Christian, a.k.a. Chris Morales.
Hey, buddy.
I think it's Chris, a.k.a. Christian.
No, I'm going the other way. We're doing it the other way, Christian. All right. So his question was, once the High Republic concludes, do you have a specific time in the Star Wars timeline you would like to see expanded upon in a future series of books? So just a fun fact, one of the things that does happen in our Patreon is a book club, and Christian is a big member of that book club. So this is a perfect question for him. So Christian, take it away.
Hey, what's going on, TRB? Chris here. I just wanted to start by saying that I absolutely love this question. It actually got me thinking quite a bit. As for the era that I'd like to see explored after the High Republic concludes, I'm not too sure, to be honest. After putting a lot of thought into it, I think I would like to see maybe not a particular timeline, but maybe some stuff from the Sith's point of view during the eras of the High Republic, or maybe a little bit before or after. I know we have gotten a few things, a couple of books since the Disney buyout, but I would say it's not enough. And I'm not really a big Sith guy, but it's kind of obviously omitted enough that maybe I would like to see a little bit more. So that's it. That's all I got. So peace out, everyone.
Awesome job. Always great to see you on the show, Chris. John, what'd you think?
I adore Christian because sometimes I think he battles his own thoughts.
I like him because he likes pizza like me, and we shared one at Celebration.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, hanging out with Christian.
Oh, you guys both like pizza?
Yeah. We're original like that.
Nothing's like Connecticut pizza, though, for being honest. But back to you, Chris. First of all, I'm glad you liked the question. Second off, I think it's cool that you're saying like you're not the biggest Sith guy, but at the same time, you want to see an expanse of their story in certain eras to enrich the overall story, which will complement Jedi and other aspects of the galaxy. So I think that's a smart pick. And it's funny you didn't lead with your passion, which is the opposite of Sith. So I like that you went the Jedi way in a sense, where you pick something that's maybe good for the greater good of Star Wars, but maybe not the number one for you. So I think that's a really interesting and cool answer. And the way you did it was pretty fun and awesome.
I like the greater good and the lesser evil, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like your setup there. You got a lot of cool stuff there. Just you were blocking the display case, so you got to let me know on Discord. Even just ping me on Discord, what you have back there, or show me a picture, because I always like when people have their figures and that sort of stuff displayed. But I have one question: is that a Michael Myers mask, and is that your 501st hat on the Michael Myers mask? I gotta know. And are you a horror fan?
Legitimately scared me.
I love. Oh, did it?
I was like, "There's someone in this," and I was like, "Oh, it's a mask."
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the original Halloween, so I didn't know if you were Christian. So maybe we could talk about old slasher flicks one day. But thanks, buddy. I really appreciate it.
James?
No, I mean this is exactly right. And Christian is probably more into the books and knows more about the book content than possibly anybody in our Patreon, including myself. This guy's totally on it. This is a good question for him, so thanks for sending it over, John. And Christian, you're exactly right. When you said it, I was like, man, it has been a long time since we've gotten a Sith-centric book, and you would think that would be something that would be very like easy to sell, like, oh, a book about the Sith, or something. And it's like, okay. But then also they've been eluded in mystery for so long that you feel like you could just almost like pick two random Sith people and just tell stories of crazy things they did or whatever, and have a good book. And then obviously the stuff about the High Republic before, after. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know what we're going to do before the High Republic. I think that's probably off territory for them. But after the High Republic, we're going to get into with hopefully the Acolyte as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I think great answers to the questions. Always good seeing you. And thanks for being a patron doing the pod race.
Christian, I don't know if I can add anything better than what these guys said. I think your answer was great. I would love to see more Sith stuff. I think we're going to have a really awesome time with the Acolyte. I know we're talking about books here, but yeah, I'm so pumped about that show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I think a book would be definitely interesting. We often get that other side, as you know, like the Jedi light side, which is understandable. They're the heroes. But man, a dark book would be super cool. Thank you for your answer. Really appreciate it. I also want to know what you have behind you, because collecting is important to me. But yeah, thanks so much. We're going to head to John now for the discussion.
Imagine it's just an empty case, and that's why he was sitting in
He's
front
like,
of
there's
it.
nothing. There's nothing.
He's like, it's not full yet, but I want it lit up. Let us know, Christian. All right, time for our discussion this week. The boldest predictions from TRB for The Mandalorian Season 3.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
All right. The Mandalorian returns in 2 days, baby. As does our live show, the Mando Fan Show, Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. East, right here on the Resistance Broadcast YouTube channel. So come join us for the good times. Also, we got to let you know, the Mando code is coming back. We're going to do a big giveaway. We're going to give out a little piece of the puzzle each episode. That's to make you watch each episode. I'm sure you know how that works. But really, it's also a fun little scavenger hunt. And it's like being a little bounty hunter yourself,
I like that John makes he does this big setup in the show, and then he goes, so the Mando code is 3. It's just like a single number, and it's like immediate just let down of all the drama.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Write it down.
I still haven't. Yeah, we still have to. I still haven't figured it out. We got to figure that out.
You did the last one like the night before.
Probably. All right, but anyway, we're here to talk bold predictions, and speculations and predictions are fun, and some seem obvious, some are quite popular. Everyone likes to sometimes say that they're the one who came up with them, but then there's bold predictions, things that have a very low chance of happening, but are fun to just toss out there into the galaxy. So let's chat about Mando Season 3. It debuts Wednesday. So let's take our biggest swings and give our boldest predictions for Season 3. And who would like to start this thing off by throwing one out there into our audience verse?
I'll kick it off, test the waters, and see if this is bold enough. How about this one? Bo-Katan's dying.
I literally just thought that in my head, James.
Really?
So I guess it's not that bold because I'm not bold.
Can I ask you to take that a step further and say who's at whose hand?
Ooh, that is bolder. He just made that a Doritos chip.
And
He
also
just went for a regular tortilla. Dorito.
for our audience, James admittedly doesn't like having predictions permanently out there. So this is a tough thing for him to do right now, and I appreciate him doing it. So, but it's all in fun.
Because everyone I want to claim, I'm like, oh no, but there's this connection thing, and I'm gonna look down.
If she dies, you still get credit for a bold prediction landing. I just want you to see if you had to guess who would.
Let's say let's go with Moff Gideon.
Okay. So the killer is a little less bold, I think, but her dying is very bold, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the thing with her dying is that I could see the reason I think it's bold prediction is because you have Katie Sackhoff, and I think you have a character that people are really gravitating towards. So why kill her off in the 3rd season when she could be around for 4 and 5?
And now she'll never come on our podcast.
Yeah. But my thought with it is that this the trailers have kind of led to her being, kind of lonely and solemn in her chambers, and I think season 3 could sort of be the story of her and introduce her in season 2, but then really tell her story in season 3, and then let Mando go on and do other things. We'll have other Mandalorians around, as we know in this one. They will be back. They will come in multiples, but that makes it less of a reason that you have to keep one specific Mandalorian around. And by killing her, you probably also kill off 2 other guest stars as well.
Yeah.
Who don't need to return if she's not around.
Right.
But I don't know. That's my thought. I can kick it off with that. Do you guys think that there's any chance, or?
Yeah, that was the first thing I honestly thought. I thought she's going to die. And I think she's going to die at the hand of Mandalorian. And I think that because I see the story going in the way of, like, they team up at first. She's apprehensive. She's angry at him, whatever. He's like, we need to do this together. She teams up with him. And then she gets that moment of selfishness and wants the Darksaber, tries to go after it. Grogu defends Mando. She turns around, tries to either harm Grogu or kill Grogu out of her own kind of craziness. And then Mando is forced to kill her because he'd rather protect Grogu than protect her.
I think the reason why I think that's bold is because I
bold.
see it backwards. I see it as like she doesn't like the Mandalorian at the beginning of the season, and by the end they team up and she would be killed.
But
by
that's
the
why
end
I'm saying they do
by a
team up,
villain.
and then she ends up dying anyway because then her selfishness gets the better of her.
That's
Yeah.
bold for sure. I could see a safer version, which is not what this is about, of her doing this whole like sacrifice thing to save Grogu or Mando, and that's how she dies or something. But her dying alone is bold. I don't think she's gonna die, but I love that bold prediction. I have one that I thought was bold that may not be as bold as this. I think Grief Karga's toast. I think he's finished. I think he's gonna die, and I think he might be killed by Mandalorians who are still.
Really?
Yeah, I think. I don't know why I think that. I just
You mean
feel
because
like
they're attacking Navarro?
yeah, but I also feel like I know I believe Carl Weathers said something about he's in the first 4 episodes, and I don't know if that's because he's just
Well,
in
he
the
almost
first
died
4.
in the first season.
Yeah, but yeah, right at Mando shooting him, and the Beskar protected him, old West style. But I feel like Grief Karga's character is sort of floating out there, and they don't really know what to do with him. I also, Carl Weathers is getting up there in his 70s. He's not going to be in like a lot of action sequences. This
I
show
think he wants
seems
to
like,
be more behind the camera.
yeah, and the show seems like it's leaning more towards bigger action. They're introducing more new characters. He's going to have less of screen time, less of a significance. I think Grief Karga's eating it in this season. Is that bold?
That is, I think that's kind of bold.
I don't think it is.
Again, it's the same thing to me. It's the same thing to me as like when you have a title character to kill them off. Like you have Carl Weathers in the show. He's been in the show for season 1, season 2, and season 3. I mean, at that point, you're just saying you're getting tired of the character. Not you, John, but like, the writers, like they're getting tired of the character. And it would be better to kill him off as a sacrifice or something along those lines. The interesting thing to me is
he does have his own
Mandalorian.
Huh?
That's kind of nuts.
I said he has his own poster.
Yeah.
Grief Karga.
Yeah. But I think
So
it's
it's
interesting
real,
that you
isn't
say he's going to die at the hands of the Mandalorian, because to me, when I see those scenes, I see a bunch of like raiders or whatever coming into Navarro, and the Mandalorians are protecting Navarro, not destroying it. Because I would think now that Grief Karga is the like leader, and he's such good friends with Mando, he would kind of let those people hang out, and that would be their like commune,
I think they're showing up because they know Mando's there with the Darksaber. So they roll up and they say, we're taking that back. Because they come up with the drop ship and drop into Navarro. From the trailer is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then you have the Ancellans who are like in that little kind of like below like basement room. They're like laughing and throwing bombs out and stuff. Like that to me doesn't sound like they're saving the city. It sounds like they're attacking the city.
Well, yeah, but we have those raiders there.
I don't know. I feel like the Mandalorians are the ones doing it, and the Raiders aren't Raiders. They're just people that live there.
Yeah,
I feel like the first half of this season is going to be still a lot of dissension among the ranks of Mandalorians, and the journey of the season is going to be him uniting them by the end. So I could see a lot of chaos happening amongst the different factions of Mandalorians and stuff. But all right, so we put out blank is going to die predictions. What else are we thinking here? What else?
I think
what else
obviously Sabine's showing up, but that's not as bold, I guess. We said that when it was bold. I said that like years ago, that I was like, she's showing up. And then we got her announced at Celebration, so it's probably not as bold anymore.
So she's announced for Ahsoka, but it's kind of like, would a character from a different show show up? Like,
yes,
so here would be a bold. Are we going to see anybody from Skeleton Crew?
No.
No.
I think Favreau said that though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the
Um,
same kind of lane, James, I think a lot of
I
people have
thought he
thrown
said that
out.
we would.
No, I think he said it was in the same time frame as what he said. I don't think he said we would see them, but I might be wrong.
Hmm.
The more guest star type people are saying like, are we going to see Thrawn? Are we going to see Han Solo? Are we going to see? I'm trying to think of what other people, like any of the original trilogy characters, like Leia. What do you guys think? Who do you think is going to
all
be
right.
the big kind of reveal moment character?
All right, here's one. It's not exactly what you're talking about, Lacey. I don't think Christopher Lloyd's in this show.
oh, really? I think he is.
I'm gonna make a bold prediction that he is another miscasting that happened also in season 2.
Jamie Lee
where
Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. They said Christopher Lloyd's in the show, but there's that's been it. That's the only thing that we've heard of it. He's not talked about it. No one else has talked about it. No one's said exciting people that we're excited to have on set. Nothing. It just feels like he's not even part of it, and he's iconic. So I feel like the conversation would be, who's Christopher Lloyd playing? He was seen on set here, or something like that. I don't think he's in the show. I think it was a miss thing. Bold prediction. I hope he's in the show.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I honestly can see them adding him because they've been adding other like kind of big 80s characters, like big 80s pop culture actors in,
Yeah,
like
I
Michael
got you.
Biehn.
Yeah.
But bold wise, I don't know. I'm trying to think like what else would be like really
I got a bold
bold.
one.
Okay, go for it.
Snoke.
You think Snoke's in this show?
Yep.
I had something similar, but I don't think timeline wise it lined up.
Oh,
Here.
Ben Solo is the other thing people have been throwing out.
Man.
That's pretty bold. That's more bold than
freaking
Snoke.
bold. I think Snoke's bold, but I think
Yeah,
I
he
could
is.
see it happening because of that whole. They got to revisit that whole clone plot with
Yep.
Grogu, and
The test tubes.
Snoke's a clone, like some strand of Palpatine. Andy Serkis was filming for Andor. Is it possible that he also did work for Snoke when he was over there in the UK? And then they get the footage and stuff like that. So I think it's a bold prediction, so it's probably not going to happen. But Snoke will be in The Mandalorian season 3.
So
Bold
my one that I was gonna say that was kind of a bold prediction. You said Snoke, and it's for the same reason. Well, it's not for the same reason, but similar reason. Kajimi Spice Runners. I thought that's a group out there that would be very easy to bring into the show. You say the name, people know it, and it makes this connection that this is a gang on the up and up, and we're leaning in that direction towards the sequels.
Because the
You're
Anzellans.
just saying that because the Babu Frick characters are there.
Actually, literally, right now is when I just put that two together. I did not.
Oh.
No. I did not put that together at all. But that makes it land a little bit more than I thought.
Because I guess my question to that would be, the Spice Runners are particular to Zori Bliss. Zori Bliss would be too young at this point.
No,
so you're saying
they're
like
not
just the
particular to Zori Bliss.
reputation.
Zori Bliss is in a family that has been around from the Kajimi dynasty.
Right. So you're saying the people that came before her.
Yeah, I would say the Kajimi Spice Runners have been around forever. Zori happens to be one of them.
One of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But obviously, like, my first thought with it was you would get like young Poe Dameron and stuff, and I was like, they're getting away from the series at this point, and it doesn't even really make sense with the timeline because all of that was later. But what I was saying was just that. But I think it lands with your point, John, too, that it would be like that thing that they teased a long time ago, connecting to the First Order, all that stuff. It's like, how can we sort of hint that in the future the sequel trilogy is happening?
Yeah, true. They're all about building up other aspects, like they did with the Clone Wars for the prequels and that sort of thing. How about a bold prediction from a not necessarily an in-story bold prediction, like, you know, this person's episode will be the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes or something. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like,
Well, I dropped the Christopher Lloyd one.
yep. Yeah, you
But-
did.
What do you think?
Like, is it a bold prediction to say one of the Dave Filoni directed episodes will be the highest rated episode this season?
Depends if who's involved in that episode. Is it like an Ahsoka Sabine episode or?
Because the first
Eh.
2 seasons he's done episodes and he hasn't. So it would have to be a knockout episode.
He's gotten some of the lower rated episodes, is what you're pointing to?
Gunslinger was low. That's mainly because of Jake Cannavale, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
the Jedi, I think, was a really good episode, but the Rescue was higher rated. The opening, the Marshal was higher rated. Can Dave Filoni have the top rated favorite episode of Mandalorian season 3?
Well, John, it's your bold prediction. Do you
It's a
think he
bold
will?
prediction.
Do you
I'm
think
putting
he
out.
will?
It's a bold prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go get it,
Lacey,
Dave.
what-
Get it done.
Lacey, what do you got? Do you have anything that's totally off the wall?
You know, it's funny because we're talking about like what is the craziest thing we can come up with. It's hard to not just repeat stuff that you've seen because it feels like as soon as something comes out, everybody's throwing 15 things out on the internet to be like, see, I was right.
Oh, of course. That's why you got to
it's
get nutty
tough.
with it.
I know, but it's tough to think outside that box of like, it's literally turned into like a Mad Libs, right? It's like this person will show up. This person is going to die. You know, this planet will appear. So it's like, how do you get out of the bold predictions of the obvious, which is someone's going to die and someone's going to show up? Because that's what Star Wars fans already go to. They always go to that.
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, my biggest one was the Bo-Katan one. I genuinely think that. I think that she's going to die to the hand of the Mandalorian. I think they're pumping both of them up really high. And obviously Mando's going to survive into season 4. And I don't think she's going to. And then that will also take away the idea that there's another person that's a very strong-headed leader of the Mandalorians and like leads the way for Mando to lead them because there's no one else kind of combating with him once she's gone.
Yeah.
Because the people that are loyal to her will be like, oh, well, now what?
Yeah, that's true. I was going to toss out another
Do you think
bold
Vince
prediction.
Vaughn will finally show up?
I say that every season. That's more of a want just because him and Favreau are like best friends. It would just make so much sense. He's had all these other people in there. I think it'd be great if Vince Vaughn was like a bartender or something. That'd be amazing.
A wedding.
Here's a bold prediction. The client is not dead and reappears in season 3.
Interesting. I think he's pretty dead, but interesting.
Well, that's the whole point of this. It's
I
probably
forget
not
how
gonna
he
happen.
died. He was just shot. They just shot him
Yeah.
like point
Yeah.
blank.
Just like Grief Karga was shot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
yeah, everybody gets shot in this show. Everyone.
How about
dies.
this? Is it possible that Mando loses a limb, Star Wars style, and has to get a Mechno limb?
No.
No, not possible at all.
No.
Not even remotely bold.
No.
Okay.
They're not going to
Yeah,
do anything to Mando.
Lacey, you're right, man. As I rack my brain, I'm like, I'm sure somebody's already like is gonna agree with this. You know, like anything I can think of, like this is gonna be the breakout season for Dr. Pershing. We're finally gonna get all the answers, and I'm sure it's like, well, yeah, eventually we're gonna get all the answers. Why not season 3? It's like not that disagreeable, you know?
Right.
I think we are going to finally see Thrawn. I think he's going to pop up.
I think that's the Ahsoka thing. So,
But it's got to lead
prediction,
into that. Ahsoka's got to
is the
lead
Thrawn
into Mando.
season.
Or
That's-
sorry,
I mean,
Mando's got to
yeah.
lead into Ahsoka. Yeah. Because they wouldn't put them right next to each other like that. And they
Zeb
were
is
filming
showing
them
up in
around the
Mando
same-
season 3. Okay.
Yeah, you're just going to Ghost Crew now. Just hair.
Yeah, because no
too.
one's talked about Zeb at all. I think that's the big reveal. Live action Zeb, season 3 Mando.
I mean,
We'll
I
see.
haven't seen anybody talk about Zeb. I've only obviously Hera because everybody saw Hera, but
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna finally bring out Mary Elizabeth Winstead on Celebration stage.
Oh, she's
Yeah.
Hera, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she definitely is.
Well, yeah, we don't know, but
Well, any other
Probably
bold
pretty likely.
predictions?
Bold. I would assume that another Jedi would show up.
I'm also trying to think outside of the box, like just something like almost sort of, and this is unfair, but it's sort of like the Deborah Chow thing. Like everybody was really behind her, and then we saw Obi-Wan, and everybody's kind of like, whatever. I'm wondering if like bold prediction, Natasha Luberdizo is a terrible Sabine or something, and it's like people see her and they're like, oh man, no, I'm not feeling it, not connecting at all. That's not what I pictured in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like they totally miswrite her or miscast her or something.
How about this for a question? Will
And
there
it's
be
nothing
a
against her. I'm picking a name, that we
will there
haven't
be
seen yet.
a post credit scene after chapter 24, the final episode? A stinger.
Yes, 100%.
Will it be for Ahsoka?
Yes,
Who will be in it?
Thrawn.
They're gonna debut Thrawn in a stinger. That is bold. That is very.
I
bold.
think
It's
so.
not so bad. They debuted Thanos in a stinger.
Yep.
Did they?
Yeah, because it's
That was the
end of
debut of
end of the
Thanos?
original Avengers. He's like, "I'll do it myself," and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Ah!"
All right, so we're doing so. So I got Lacey Gillerin on a bold prediction. Post credits finale. Scene Ahsoka, Thrawn.
Yes.
Now
I think
now here's
Ahsoka
a
is basically being treated as like Mando. What is it now?
It would be 3.5.
3.5, but it's also her own story, so it's like a little bit more than that. It's like more like 3.75.
So Grogu's gonna get separated at the end of this series and then get reunited
Again?
in Ahsoka with
Again?
man. I'm kidding, obviously, because people are so
Bold
upset
prediction.
about it. Yeah.
Do you
Not
think
again.
Hayden Christensen's going to show
I
up?
got one.
Ezra will be in that stinger, that post-credit stinger. Live action debut of Ezra.
So he's with Thrawn, so you're just jumping off of my
Well,
prediction.
I pitched the stinger. What are you even saying? Don't steal my. What is this fucking manipulation?
I've
And I'm pretty sure I was the first one to say Sabine in Mando season 3. So I didn't want
No,
to hear
you were
that.
not. I was.
I'm getting
Because
the
it was
archivist
weird
on
for me
this.
to.
I'm getting the archivist on this.
You can do that, but it was weird for me to say it because James is the biggest Rebels fan. So when I said it, I remember James was like, "Oh, that could happen," and I
It's probably
remember
Will in the
feeling
fourth
proud because James finally agreed with me. So you can go back and check that. But I
James
know for a
agrees with
fact.
you all the time. I don't want to hear
Yeah.
any of this. Yeah.
I'm saying at the time he finally agreed with me. I've contributed 2 things to this podcast: the Kessel Run and Sabine being
Oh
in
my
Mandalorian.
god. First of
All
all,
right, I've got another out of the box bold prediction. You ready?
Things.
Yeah, go.
They're going to abandon the chapter names, the chapter numbers.
Ooh.
That's very bold. Yeah.
I think they're doing Mandalorian season 3, they're doing Mandalorian season 4, and they don't want to be like chapter 23. It's like at that point, it just doesn't feel right. And I feel like what they would more likely do is just quietly move into calling the episodes by just the title instead of chapter and then the title.
Here's a bold prediction. I think Grogu's going to whip out Yoda's lightsaber and fight someone.
Is that bold?
I think that's bold because I don't think that's very likely.
He still walks like a toddler, so.
But
yeah,
Favreau said there is
does he even have the lightsaber?
We don't know. That's why it's bold.
What I'm saying.
I don't think it's that bold.
I'm defending you, Lacey, so don't. Yeah. You don't think it's that bold? Do you think that it's very likely that Grogu whips out Yoda's lightsaber?
And think about
fights
Grogu.
somebody?
He's the #1 Star Wars collectible. What else can they do with him? Slap a lightsaber in his hand.
Oh, they could do a lot with him. They
Yeah.
just need him to talk this season, and they've already got a whole season's worth of.
And I feel like that's not a bold prediction because I think we tried that. We said he would talk in season 2.
I'm just like, Lacey's not bold. Lacey's not. I said this a month ago. Lacey's.
Well,
No,
I'm
that's not
defending you.
true.
I think
That's not
that's
true.
bolder than
I
him
said-
talking.
I said your Bo-Katan dying thing was very bold. I think that is a very because I don't think she is going to die. So I think that's
think
a
that
very
was fun.
bold prediction.
You're bold to claim that Sabine's showing up.
Oh, I said that a long time ago.
You did not. You did not.
Well, you and I always like.
I've said 2 things on this
I've got
podcast.
I've got
Fennec
a bold.
Shand wasn't dead. Sabine showing up in Mandalorian.
I think James has a bold prediction.
Well, I'm just saying I got a bold one that I'm already gonna shoot down. Din Djarin dies in this season,
Shut up.
and
Oh,
Grogu resurrects him because he has the same like force healing power as Rey.
So then he gives up his whole
So-
life force and then fades away into the world between worlds, meets Ben Solo.
That's
Then
the part
comes
where it
back.
doesn't make sense. He would also have to die.
Oh God Almighty! This freaking world between worlds.
I didn't.
Here's a
say
bold
world
prediction: the
between
world, the
worlds.
world between worlds comes back, and then gets blown up into complete smithereens, and no one ever
John
friggin' talks about it ever again.
John hates the world between worlds.
I liked it for what Filoni did, but then fans have to kill it with all this craziness.
Bold predictions, would you say?
Yeah. We'll call it predictions.
I think. Yeah, I don't think fans. I don't
I
think
got a
fans
great
handle
one.
the world between worlds poorly. I feel like some fans
They misunderstand what it is.
100% going to happen.
They think it's an afterlife purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, bold prediction. Pelimato, the N1 gets destroyed. Pelimato builds him a new Razor Crest. Bang.
I think the Razor Crest is gone.
Razor Crest 2.
I
return.
have a better version of that in my opinion. Razor Crest 2 also N1, so it docks with the new Razor, the updated Razor Crest.
Ready for another bold prediction?
These aren't that bold. John's like, he's going to
Season-
get a ship.
You just said it's not going to happen.
You did just say that. You were like,
Ready?
No.
The season will end with Moff Gideon being frozen in carbonite.
That's a pretty bold prediction.
Bang.
Because it's not like a crazy thing.
Is that
it's
before or
just
after
like-
Sabine shows up?
I don't know. I have to go back to see what I said 8 months ago.
John, that prediction you just said
years ago.
is similar to be like the last word in season 3 will be ever. Like it's like that's a pretty bold prediction.
And that's where James loses his mind because he's like, what is a prediction?
On
Yeah,
this
exactly,
on this podcast in 2012, I said Sabine would show up in season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Season 3.
Who's our
11
archivist? Danny?
11
Danny, tell John that I'm the first
She's
person
never
that
been
said
a
that.
made official archivist.
She's
For-
the unofficial but official. She wants to be archived.
No one realizing that I said 2012 when not only did Mandalorian not exist, Sabine didn't exist, and neither did this podcast.
We thought you
I
were just losing
understand
your
that.
mind.
I was just letting you say dumb things.
No,
Oh.
I missed it.
Okay.
I missed it. I don't know. Lacey, got anything else? What's another
John?
crazy off the wall one?
Crazy off the wall.
Yeah.
Grogu dies. I think that is the craziest thing that anybody could ever say, and it's never going to happen. And that is the bold prediction. They're never going to kill him because he's money. Second, he's a baby. That'd be messed up.
Yeah.
So, therefore, it's bold because it's absolutely never going to happen.
Ready for a sizzling bold prediction?
This has been the weirdest bold prediction should be better. Go ahead.
See, this is how you do bold prediction. You start off by saying, "Are you ready for this bold prediction?"
We keep
And then-
saying that.
And then you say it, which is the Millennium Falcon will appear in the Mandalorian season 3.
That's not that bold. People have been saying that the whole time. People have been saying Han Solo is going to show up.
Oh, get out of here! No,
He was
one's been
literally
saying that.
on. He was literally on an article today. Someone had it in the header of like people that might show up in Mandalorian.
I didn't
3.
say Han Solo, did I? I said the Millennium Falcon.
You're gonna have the Millennium Falcon, but not Han Solo.
Correct, because they're not going to do de-aged Harrison Ford for this.
It's not de-aged. It would be a little bit older, right? Oh no, it would be Return of the Jedi.
We don't know when Han lost the Falcon, right?
It'd be 50-year-old Harrison Ford.
We don't. He lost it to the
Duquesne.
something Duquesne, but the
Right.
Irving boys.
Urban Boys, yeah.
So Falcon, Mando season 3, bang.
But I think that all
keep saying
happened after this stuff.
Because that locks it in. That gets people excited. You hear the word bang, you're like, bang.
I think that we've gotten Ben Solo content with him on the Falcon that
Yes, when Ben's young,
po-
and that's why people think
postdates
he might show
Mandalorian
up.
stuff.
Like
So here's
Han
some
shows
forward
up
pro-
with Ben.
Zero
All right.
chance of that happening. That's a bold prediction. I
I'll
guess.
one up John's prediction and say not only is the Millennium Falcon, but it's going to be Chewie.
See, that makes sense. I like that.
Chewbacca
Okay, but it's
and
not
the
supposed to make
Mandalorian
sense.
in
It's supposed to be
season-
bold.
Right.
Look. Does
No,
anyone
he's-
think that Mandalorian or the Millennium Falcon
No,
and Chewbacca
James,
are going to
I'm
show up in
just saying.
season 3?
I
Let's
said
be
that
honest.
Solo could show up, and he's going that would never happen. That would never happen. And then that's the point. It's a bold prediction.
Well, true.
Then you're saying
Well,
Chewie, and he goes,
You're
I
saying
like that.
you're saying none of mine are bold. I feel like I'm taking huge swings here.
Not bold. Swing and a miss.
Which one?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think to me, bold is like not obvious, but something that has maybe been kicked around, but that is very likely not going to happen. And bold prediction 2, we've kind of moved into that territory of like those things definitely are not going to happen. And if I don't think any of us really think those things are going to happen, like Ben
Ready?
Solo showing up, Grogu dying, that stuff. That's
Yoda
like
showing up.
yeah, like a crazy prediction. I don't think that's happening. But bold predictions is you're starting to play in the world where, John, I think this is like when you make the bold prediction, you got to say that's it.
Right.
I think this is gonna happen, and I'm
Now,
calling
James.
it now.
James, are you
What?
ready for a bold prediction?
Hold on. I loaded my handgun.
Din Djarin's armor will be stolen from him, and he has to piece together new armor at some point in this season. Bang.
I like that. I like that he
got all built
Maybe
up,
full
his new
armor.
Beskar. He's got all this cool stuff. It's stolen. He has to start from scratch, reborn. His armor will be stolen this season. Bang.
and then he have to have Pedro Pascal like in the show at that point. Like Last of Us is done filming.
He's like tweeting it how terrible my bold prediction.
No, I'm looking up stuff about the like Mandalorians and
Timelines.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Do we have it? No, I'm kidding around. Do we have any other like death predictions or cameo predictions? Because we know Mando loves cameos, but it has to be bold. It has to be wild stuff.
Cameo. How about Palpatine?
Exegol, Mando season 3.
Yeah.
How about a character from what are they called? Alphabet Squadron.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
Similar to Cobb Vanth, like being obviously Aftermath. But
I have a I'm
having,
with you on this.
having a new book character make an appearance in this that people are like, I have no freaking clue who that is, but fans are going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe that's so and so from Alphabet Squadron.
So Carson Teva He's obviously been promoted. He's got his new little Rancor patch. He's
Rancor
probably not doing.
Squadron.
He's probably not doing as much patrolling in his X-wing. Wedge Antilles. Mando season 3. Bang.
Can you stop saying bang?
How do you do it though, John? That's exactly what you don't like. They've cast it. It's the same actor, young, same actor, old. How do you do the middle?
D-age.
You think they? Yeah.
Dennis
I
Lawson.
think-
Guy's been back in the mix, dude. He wants a paycheck. I just Gazoon tight.
Gesundheit. I sneezed off mic. No, the Dennis Lawson thing. I think fans might go took a step back on season 3.
I don't mean he's the big reveal in the final episode.
We got de-aged Luke.
D.H. Luke and then Wedge Antilles.
And then we get de-aged Wedge Antilles.
And then in season 4,
Budget
de-aged Hobby.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're bringing
Oh,
back
yeah.
everybody from Empire.
Dak. No, yeah, the big villain reveal is Dak. He didn't die on Hoth. He wants his revenge.
It's actually Dengar.
Dak Raltar. Oh, Dengar. Okay. All right.
Dengar is the main villain of the Mandalorian.
Rothgar Dang.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bold
Rothgar
prediction.
Yeah.
Bold prediction. Bosk shows up. Mandalorian season 3.
I mean, about time.
Is that bold?
Is that bold? John, do you think it's going to happen?
Bang.
Do you think it's going to happen?
If you said bang, I would have believed it more.
So stupid.
You know you want to say it though.
When is this show coming out? Oh, right, in like 2 days. Yes.
All right, how about this? Let's do the first episode bold prediction so that we can talk about it on Wednesday night and make fun of how wrong each other were.
Grogu spins in a swirly chair. Bang.
Get out. Yeah, that's really a very bold
First,
prediction.
I don't know where I came up with it. It just kind of came to me as like a really cute scene that could happen.
but I got it. Bold prediction. Here we go. First episode. That's fine, John. I'll make it the first episode. Gina Carano returns.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh my god.
That is a bold prediction.
Cara
for sure.
Dune back in the
that's
first
the
episode
boldest-
of Mando season.
First
That's
of all,
the boldest prediction.
First of all, we have to end on that because that's the boldest you could ever get. Second of all, that will never happen because of two things. One, it's not going to happen. Two, if it did happen, she would have dropped a hint by now. Like she's not keeping that to herself.
3, she's bigger than the Mandalorian now. She's a huge movie star.
Did you guys see?
All right, I'm going to think of a bold prediction for the first episode, and it is going to be, I don't know.
Bang.
Yeah.
There has to be
Someone's gonna
something.
fire a gun, and
gotta
it's
be
going to
something
make
that
sound effects.
happens.
Bang.
I
How
think
about-
that Navarro is getting attacked in the first episode. That's my bold prediction.
That's not a bold prediction.
That seems
You're
likely
see-
based on trailers.
But you're naming things that have already been shown in official footage.
That doesn't mean that's where it happened. It could
But
be
how's
cut.
that bold?
How are you bold,
It's-
John? You didn't
It's
even
a
just
1
give
in
an
8
answer.
chance,
You
John.
didn't give, you didn't give an answer.
How am I bold? I'm the boldest person you know.
Okay.
Besides Mark Newbold.
Yeah,
Dun-dun-dun.
I've been thinking about him this whole episode.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Bold prediction. The Mandalorian will not remove his helmet in the first episode of season 3. Bang.
At least I gave a
I'm
plot
kidding.
point.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding around.
All right.
All right.
well,
Here's a bold prediction. I'll just throw it out there. The guy that no, I don't like that. I don't like
Because we haven't been just throwing things out there.
that. Yeah.
I got
I was gonna
a
say-
prediction.
ahead.
Helvetica, but bold.
I got nothing.
We're losing
I
it.
was hoping we could come up with something for the first episode, but
I just gave you
Um,
something.
Lacey, I'm not going to allow you to take official footage and then claim it's a bold prediction so that when it obviously happens, which it probably will, you're like, live on the Mando Fan Show, first season, like, doing this and all that. Like, get out of here.
You mean like when
Oh,
Fennec
wow.
Shand was alive and both of you said she wasn't going to be alive?
That never. I love how you recreate history.
You both thought she was dead.
I never said that.
I thought she was dead.
You definitely said you thought she was dead.
Show me
Either
the
way,
tape.
her point right now, John, is that she's got one. One right.
I'm 1 for 1. If that
I think we've
Bo-Katan
made
stuff
all
happens,
the bold predictions
Yeah.
possible. There's not any more characters that could be in this that could show up. It's impossible.
Yeah, I don't really have. I really wish I could come up with one for the first episode. It would be so fun to talk about it on Wednesday. Something that's bold. How about an X-wing explodes in the first episode of Mandalorian season 3?
Shot down by. This is what you do to me. Keep going.
Shot down by Paz Vizsla.
All right.
you're not
Let's
going to
see
say
if there's
bang.
Oh yeah.
Nope, because I wanted you to do it, and you just did.
She did a bang earlier.
That's the show, folks. Is the you guys ready for a bold prediction?
I was
The
I
show-
was waiting for John to do his bang, but because it was Paz Vizsla, it'd be bang 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 bang.
All right. It's been
All
a
right,
day.
guys. All right, cool. We had obviously got a little nutty, but I think we tossed some cool ones out there. It'll be fun to see them not happen.
And if we get
I wanna
one
know what
right,
Yeah, I want to
That's
know
the
what
thing, we
people
get
retweet
think.
it a million times. Clip it
Yeah.
out.
Clip it out.
Tweet us your bold predictions.
Oh
Post on your story on Instagram, tagging our episode. Tell us your bold predictions. Write in the comments. I want to see them. Because I feel like
And
people are
also-
more creative than me.
And also, if we have time and we remember, maybe we could shout a few of them out on the Mando Fan
That would be
Show
great.
Wednesday night.
Yeah.
All right, here's the deal, folks. Oh, am I Joe Biden now? Hey, folks. Thank you very much for listening and watching and being a part of TRB. As we said before, make sure you're subscribed everywhere, rate us everywhere, join their YouTube channel, all that good stuff. We appreciate it. And of course, Patreon means a great deal if you can support us. If you can't, all good. Just thanks for being a part of what we have going on here. Again, Wednesday night, 8:30 East, Mando Fan Show is back. So be sure to watch it with us live on the channel. And of course, it will be on the podcast apps the following day. Lacey, where can people find you on social media?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lacey Gillerin and on TikTok now. Pretty active on there at It's Lacey Gillerin.
James?
Always on Twitter and Instagram, both at Myra Trunks.
Right on. Johnny Hoey on Twitter, and I also have a movie podcast, Just Like the Movies, and we're doing the first Scream movie next week, leading up to the new Scream movie coming out, which hopefully is good. But we will be back with you in just 2 days, if you're checking this out on Monday, for the Mando Fan Show. So you get just a very brief break with us. And of course, if you're a patron, you get our other stuff that we're putting out too. But we hope you have a great start to your week, and we'll see you Wednesday night with the Mando Fan Show right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.